What's up? I'm coming at you live from the man cave here in London. And this week I want to talk about what I read. And I pulled out an old classic from my bookshelf and a book that you would all probably be very surprised to know that I read and I'm a huge fan of. And that is, wait for it, Allen Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And yes, me, myself, Brian Rose, used to smoke. And not a little bit. I used to smoke like a motherfucker. I was toking on Marlboro Reds, mainly when I went to MIT and went to my fraternity house. And contrary to what you might think of the boys at MIT, we used to party pretty hard. I used to drink a lot as well, which will be saved for another show. But I used to smoke too. And it was Marlboro Reds, and I'd be smoking, a pack a night at a party. And yeah, I used to smoke just because I thought it was cool, or I thought I was crazy and I was going to live forever. All the usual stupid reasons. And it's funny now because kids these days know that smoking is for losers, as Dan Pena would say, because it really is for losers. It's for someone who's just really stupid. It used to look cool, I think, back in the cinema days and stuff like that. But I think kids these days, my 11-year-old knows that it's not cool. It's actually really stupid. But back in my day, it was still kind of glamorized in cinema, James Dean, all of that nonsense, the Marlboro Man. And so I think I was caught up in that, and I got into the smoking and drinking and partying thing. And so that's what I did. I used to suck on those things and, really get my smoke on. And what I found is when I was 20 years old, I decided to take things to the next level, and I started smoking Lucky Strike unfilters. Yes, that's kind of what I do. I always go to the extreme. And so I was smoking those things and spitting out the tobacco from the filterless cigarettes. And Jesus, I think when I then later moved on to Chicago and worked for the First National Bank of Chicago, I started actually smoking those little cigarellos that are like little mini cigars, and I was going even harder core. So, in retrospect, it was really stupid to do, but I was really hooked in tobacco, and nicotine is a fascinating addiction. And nicotine is actually one of the most addictive drugs in the world, but we don't think of it as a drug problem because it doesn't kill. But that doesn't mean it's not addictive. So people think of things like heroin or, other opiates. People say cocaine's not addictive. I don't know if I agree with that. But people see those as dangerous drugs, but actually nicotine's highly addictive. And what I loved about this book is when I finally decided to really start changing my life in my early 30s and really took a hard look at myself and my habits. I started training, I started lifting, I started doing jiu-jitsu and doing boxing. And I was like, I hate smoking. It's gross. It makes me feel like crap afterwards. And I read this book, and I would have never thought a book would have got me to stop smoking, but it actually worked just by reading a book. And it tells you how you've been trick-fucked by the tobacco industry and all of these things you think about what cigarettes are and how they make you relax when they actually don't make you relax. There's a great analogy that Allen Carr, God rest his soul, he died actually, says that it's like wearing a tight pair of shoes all day, and then you take them off and you feel relief. It's like smoking. When you have that cigarette, it feels like a relief, but that's because you've been constricted all day in this kind of nicotine withdrawal process. And so I read that book, and it walks you through the confidence trick that cigarettes play on your brain. And once you understand it, then you can actually look past it, and the success rate has been very high. I know Ashton Kutcher read that book and just stopped smoking, and a lot of people are like, oh, the nicotine patch and all that, but Allen Carr doesn't play that. He's like, look, it's a nicotine addiction. You need to get away from that addiction, so don't give yourself more nicotine. And it's fascinating. One of the things I found about it, it was really empowering. So once I taught myself that I could get over something as powerful as nicotine addiction, then I was like, well, I can do more things. I can get over my fear of this or my fear of that or my overconsumption of this or that. And so I found it to be really empowering. And so if you're struggling with smoking, or if you smoke, like, honestly, I don't know anybody that I know that I consider an intelligent person or a good friend who smokes. I mean, it's a sign of big loserdom, and it stinks, and it's just gross, and it's not cool. And it's just like, well, you're killing yourself. And in a weird way, you're subconsciously telling you that you don't love yourself. Back to what Anita Morjani said, you're saying that I don't value my health and I don't value my longevity. And so it's subconsciously, you're chipping away at your self-esteem and your self-worth. And so it's just crappy all around. But my story gets better. So it's a great book to read, audio or physical book. It's fantastic, but my story gets better. And one of the rules that Allen has and I stopped smoking, I think, when I was 31 years old, 32, something like that, when I got to London. And one of the things that Allen says in this book is he says, once you stop, you can never, ever, ever, ever go back. That means, no, I'm going to sneak one fag, as they say in the UK here at a party. It means that, no, the nicotine's out of your system and you can't re-engage with it. And that means no cheeky cigar. That means no nothing. So, and I was good about that. I was just like, nope, you can't even have one, because then you're back into that cycle. And so even if I was out or having a few drinks, I was like, I don't play that anymore. And my friends were always amazed. They'd be like, can I smoke in front of you? And I was like, yeah. It's not, I've decided in my brain I don't want to do it. But then I went and did some dumb shit. Yes, I went and had a cigar, okay? And again, cigars, you might think they're cool because Arnold Schwarzenegger smokes them, or they're seen as the big guy, cigar aficionado, like it's a cool thing to do. Cigars are just as lame as cigarettes. Don't fool yourself, okay? And some people think girls smoking cigars is cool. Smoking anything is dumb, okay? If you like, the Mary Jane, then use a vaporizer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got nothing against if you like smoking weed, whatever. But smoking something physical where there's combustion, I mean, it's just killing yourself. So I went and smoked a cigar. And then a few weeks later, I smoked another one. And then a few weeks later, I smoked another one. And I knew in my brain I shouldn't be doing this. And then like a year later, I was out in LA and a buddy was there and he was like, oh, here, you want a cigarette? And I was just like, yeah, okay. And boom, I was back. And I was having like one here and one there. And I know, me, B. Rose, smoking cigarettes like a punk. And so I was really unhappy. But, you get into the cycle where you're like, oh, a long day at work, I'm going to have a cigarette. I can't even believe I used to do that. So I went back in. I reread the book. There's actually a movie that goes with this book, too, that's really good. And it's repetitive, but it walks you through this confidence trick. But this time, I got some extra help. And that was by a drug called Champex here in the UK. I think it's called something else in the US or UK. And it's a fascinating, very powerful drug that once you take it, it makes you feel a little nauseous for a few days. No pain, no gain. But within like a week or two, your entire interest in cigarettes is like gone. Like you don't even want to look at them. And they're just so gross. And so I read the book and I watched the movie and I got on this drug for about 4 weeks. And gone. I could never even look at one afterwards. And like I said, there was a little nausea, but I tell everyone I meet that if they're smoking, just get on that stuff. And it's now like really the easy way in addition to Allen Carr. So if you're listening to this and you're smoking, Allen has a great thing in this passage where he asks people, oh, do you love to smoke? And they say, oh yeah, I'll always smoke. And he's like, okay, but would you want your kids to smoke? And like even the most hardcore smoker that says, oh, I love it, do you want your kids to smoke? They would all say, no, I don't. Because they know it's not good for them. So, but so many people I know that smoke, they just whine and bitch and complain. And I say, look, get the Champex. It's a pill. In 2 weeks, you'll be off it. And they still don't do that. It kills me just because I guess they just don't give a shit, or they don't care about themselves, or they're in fear of their own success. Go figure, it might snowball into a successful career or maybe a new successful relationship or something like that. But no, they don't do it because they're in their comfort zone and they just continue to kill themselves. So go figure. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking about stopping smoking, I did it once for 10 years on this book, and then I fucked up, and then I went back, and I've been good now for like a year or two, and it's all good, and I don't miss it at all. And I can't stand, if I'm walking behind someone smoking a cigarette, like even 100 feet ahead of me, I will change the side of the street because I just hate the smell of it. So there you go. There's my journey with smoking. If you're smoking now, just stop, because like when you get emphysema one day or something and you can't even breathe, it's not a good look, as Ashley Walters would say. Not a good look. And that's all I got to say. Big love to Allen Carr. I'm sorry he's no longer with us, but he gives so much knowledge. They got clinics here in London. I got no equity in this movement, but it really helped me. And it's amazing how you can trick your brain, or how your brain gets tricked with the whole tobacco trick. It's really a confidence trick and a trick fuck, as Dan Pena would say. So there you go. That's my book of the week. Allen Carr, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And it is easy. That's the funny thing. Something people think is so hard. It's super easy, and in a few days you'll be off them forever. So there you go. Peace to you. Yes, I'm coming out of the closet. I used to smoke, and but now I'm free of it. So please make the change. Let me know what you think of this video. Give me some comments below. Tell me what you want me to read next, and I'll review it for you. And of course, please click on the link and subscribe. It helps the YouTube gods shine favorably upon us. And that's it. I'm out of here. Peace.